Greetings, I am Tom Earl, and this is my year of courage. I want to thank you so much for joining us here at the celebration. I know you could be anywhere. So the fact that you are here today with us means the absolute world to me. Today, we want to talk about courageous self-love. It's important that in the beginning of these courageous conversations that we're going to have over this year, that we start at what I consider to be the foundation, which is love for yourself. Before we get into that, though, we are going to start with our centering ritual. So what we're going to do here in a second is breathe in deeply through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. When you breathe in, think, reach, stretch, or point up. Here we go. Breathe in. And release. Yes, indeed. Relax your shoulders, feel tension anywhere in your body and release it. Here we go one more time. Breathe in and release. What I'd like you to do is, if you're able to, close your eyes, but if you're working while listening to this, or if you're driving or you're cleaning the house, then you don't have to close your eyes. Only if you're able to. But what I'd like for you to do is think about one thing in life that gives you confidence. What is one thing that gives you confidence? Are you confident that the sun will rise tomorrow without you doing anything? Are you confident that as you breathe in, your next breath will come right after it? Are you confident that as you're driving, all those around you will obey the traffic laws and stay in their lanes? Are you confident in the love of your Creator, if that is what you believe in? Are you confident that there is some sort of energy, some sort of vibration that is all loving and has its constant attention on you? Does trusting and leaning into that, does that give you confidence? Are you confident in something that you do? Maybe it's a sport, or maybe it's art, or your ability to cook a really delicious dish. What are you confident in? What gives you confidence? I want you to think of that thing and really feel the emotion of confidence resonating throughout your body. One more time, breathe in with me. And release. Yes, indeed, my friends. Not only do we want to continually center ourselves through our intentional breathing, but we want to do what's called forward feeling. You'll hear me talk about this a lot in the year of courage. Forward feeling is where anything we want in life, we want because of the feeling we believe it will give us, whether it's a car, success in business, a relationship, financial security. We want all of those things because of the feelings we believe they will give us. And so alignment is asking yourself, what is that feeling? And giving yourself that feeling now, so that it's not conditional, that it's not based upon needing something first to then feel good. Rather, it's feeling good now because you can, because you inside are the one who ultimately decides how you are going to feel. No one can make you feel any way. Only we have the power to control our emotions. Viktor Frankl, in Man's Search for Meaning, you've probably heard this quote often, says that a person's last remaining freedom is their ability to choose their attitude. And this was somebody who was writing this book in a concentration camp. And so you might hear ourselves saying, that made me feel this, or someone said that and it made me feel that. But we know that's being in, out. What is it, Tom? In or out? That's being out of alignment. That's not being impeccable in our words, because nobody can make us feel things. They can surely create opportunities where, more often than not, we make ourselves feel certain ways. But nobody can make us feel that. We have that ability to choose, how am I going to feel? And so deciding that and figuring out what is this thing that I want, and what do I think it'll make me feel? So one is confidence, that I believe that having this car, or this money, or this opportunity, that I will feel confidence finally. And so that's why we started with confidence. Make yourself feel that now. You become in alignment then with that thing you are working towards, and that's when little miracles happen, where you just happen to run into somebody at the grocery store who knows this person you've been wanting to meet for a long time, or you go on this random Google search and end up finding this little tidbit of information that's exactly what you needed. Those kind of adventures. So we're going to talk today about love for yourself. I believe that it is one of the most courageous things you can do, is to truly love yourself fully, to embrace yourself, to recognize that you are worthy of love, that you are loved, that you are amazing just as you are. There's nothing that you need to do. You don't need to accomplish something first. You don't need to get some sort of degree. You don't need to ask for forgiveness. You don't need to repent from something you've done in your past. You don't need to prove yourself that you're a good person. None of those things. You, just as you are loved, are worthy of love, are amazing, are superpowered. Of course, all those other things are great on our journey, but first and foremost, having that foundation where we are not shaming ourselves, where we are allowing ourselves space to fully embrace who we are. The other day, I hopped off the bus. I've been taking the bus lately. It's been awesome. It's been allowing me this opportunity to reflect and meditate going to and from work, so I appreciate that time. And I hopped off the bus, was going into my house, and I couldn't find my keys. So I looked all over my backpack. I checked every nook and cranny, every secret pocket that I got, and realized the keys weren't in there. So then I sat down and started going through my mind, where could I have dropped my house keys? And you can imagine, my heart is probably starting to beat a little quicker. I'm starting to go into, oh my goodness, am I going to have to hop on the bus and retrace my steps? I'm finally home. You know, this kind of overreacting that sometimes I do in moments like this. So I was looking for them everywhere, and I was getting anxious, and I thought, you know what? You know where I haven't looked? My pocket. So this was after about 5-6 minutes of searching, mind you. So I dig into my pocket, and as you can guess, there are my keys right there in my pocket. Have you ever had a moment like this? Maybe your keys, or I remember another time I was looking for my glasses, and I was saying to my partner, where's my glasses? I can't find my glasses. It was in the morning just after I got up. I can't find my glasses. And she said, you're wearing them. Have you ever had something like that where you were looking for it all over the place, and you were either already wearing it, it was in your pocket, or maybe it was in your purse or your backpack all along? What we can draw from this is that having something doesn't become empowering until we realize that we have it, which is why that is the first thing we are going to talk about today with courageous love for yourself. The first step is to realize, is to have this realization that just like those keys, I had them all along, but I wasn't able to use them. I wasn't able to be in a place where I could benefit from the having of it until I realized that it was there. The word realize, I looked it up. What is its origins? One of its etymology, etymology means the history of words. One of its etymologies is from the French, bring into existence. And I think that's very perfect, because the keys were there in my pocket, but they didn't really exist to me until I realized they were there. And my realization is what brought them into existence in my life. For us, for me, for you, for everybody in the world, we are worthy of love. We are amazing. We are magical beings. We have the ability to think things, feel the power of that thought, and like magic, see it come to life. Just the other day, I was thinking of one of my friends. I thought, I haven't talked to this person in years. I wonder how they're doing. And would you believe it? The next day, I saw a Facebook post where they announced that them and their partner, they were pregnant. And they talked about their fertility journey that they were on. And it was this, as you can imagine, If you know anybody going through a fertility journey, it was this roller coaster of growth and emotions. And so this was a very joyous day for them. And for me, that stuff happens all the time where I'll think something and then boom, it comes to life. That's what we have the power of. But having that power doesn't matter until we realize we have it, until we bring it into existence by giving it our attention. And this is something that we'll do time and time again. This is something that you will lean into and then fall out of and come back to until we find that steady alignment where it becomes a way of life of realizing our worthiness. What I'd like to do is I wrote another free write. I'm thinking maybe this might be a routine. I'll write a free write for each one of our podcasts, but we shall see. And, I was going through a time in my life where doubts were seeping into my mind. And when doubts come into our mind, we start to question ourselves. And we start to wonder things like, am I worthy? Or we start to wonder, now that I've messed up or I've had a failure, will people abandon me? Or we think, I thought this person had my back and now they don't. What does this mean? And we can spiral. We can go on and spiral like this. And so when I was going on one of my morning walks, I started to say this poem in my head. And so I wrote it down and I want to share it with you. It's perfect for our conversations on courageous love. Ready? Would you like to hear my poem? Okay. What if, despite your doubt and your fear, what if you decided to trust yourself fully? What if, even though you felt afraid, you gave yourself permission to live with courage and passion? What if you dared to fly? What if you promised yourself to try just for an hour to believe completely and totally in yourself? What if you said, yes, all right, I can do that. And so you make a pact to follow through on this hour-long promise between you. And as you do, you notice the joy of embracing self-love. And so you say, okay, let's do this for 60 minutes longer. And during that additional hour, what if you decide, I will believe over doubt? I choose journey over destination. I choose self-care over sabotage. I choose to relax into my vision. What if you realize that everything you need is already inside? What if you find that at the end of those 3,600 seconds, against everything expected, your world did not fall apart. In fact, you feel wonderful. You notice the sun is shining just a little bit brighter. And on a whim, you sit down on a bench and breathe in deeply, nourishing your body with oxygen. Looking down, you see a line of tiny ants dancing to a rhythm that comes from within, moving like those who have knowledge of their purpose. And what if for that hour, you can relate? And so you decide, rather than take a break, how about I try this for the rest of the day? Just as an experiment. Truly. What could I mess up? And so, for 24 hours more, what if, whenever you envision the future, rather than imagining catastrophe after catastrophe, what if you found yourself realizing that through my mindset, my perspective, and my interpretations, I am the one who creates my own reality? What if you accepted this responsibility? What if you looked to the future, and when you did so, you only pictured the most ridiculously amazing outcomes possible, that you always expected the best? What if you were relaxed and yet brought excited energy and allowed yourself to believe that everything is always working out for you? As Rumi says, what if you lived life as if everything was rigged in your favor? Oh my. What if, for just 24 hours, you gave yourself permission to truly do all of that? What do you think would happen? Would reality be waiting to greet you like a panther hiding in the shadows, licking its lips, preparing to devour a naive and should have known better traveler? Yes? Or on that 25th hour, would you find yourself having experienced what it truly feels like to live connected to your inner power, free, unconditionally happy, the creator of your life, the author of your story. Yes, what if you did just that? You tried it for an hour and then 2 and then 24, dipped your foot into the waters and tested it out before diving in, and then discovered the power of harnessing your focus and emotions. What if you found it to be something quite fantastic? And what if little by little, easy step followed by easy step, what if this became your way of living? What if you were gentle on yourself, spoke inside with kindness, playful when you make mistakes, laughter and genuine pleasure for the process? What if you didn't take anything personally? What if you assumed best intentions? What if you loved without fear? What if you told your story fully? What if you embraced vulnerability over perfection? What if you embraced the power of relationships and connections? What then? What if? Well, like life, like your happiness, like your dreams, like the next step too, I will leave the answering that up to you. Yay! What if, my friends, what if you decided, as I said in that poem, to just test it out for an hour, to just say, you know what, I'm going to ridiculously, courageously believe in myself, almost to the point of delusion. I'm going to create a bubble around me where for just an hour, I choose belief over doubt. I choose courage over fear. I choose journey over destination. What if you did that for just an hour? That's what I started to do with myself. I started to just set aside these little hour-long segments, right? Say, what's the worst that can happen? And I'd try it and I'd love it and I'd become addicted to it. So I'd say, for 2 hours, I'm going to do this. And then maybe on a Sunday where I'm not going to run into anybody. What's the worst that could happen on a Sunday? I'm going to just, for the whole day, just live with that mindset. And more, when I started to practice that, it became a way of living. And so it's a fun poem, but it's also an encouragement for you to give it a shot. Because what we need to do is not just realize that we are loved, but also to practice self-love. And that's the second thing we want to talk about, is taking time out for yourself to practice loving yourself. This can be through self-care rituals, whether it's every night before you go to bed, writing down 10 I am statements. I have a journal where I write down 10 I am statements every night before I go to bed. I am loved. I am worthy. I am amazing. I am a light. I am joy. I am courage. I am beautiful. I am wonderful. I am amazing. Writing those over and over again, practicing, saying it out loud, putting it on paper. What are some other self-love, self-care rituals you can do? Getting a massage, going for a walk, taking a nice shower, sleeping in, eating some delicious and healthy food, spending time with those who uplift you and those who care about you, spending time with yourself, doing the things you love, reading, writing, binge watching a show. What is some self-care you can practice? One of the most important ways we can practice self-care is in our language, is really being, as the 4 agreements say, the first agreement, impeccable in our words. So not putting yourself down, oh, I'm a loser, I'm a failure, I'm stupid, I'm a fool, I'm the worst, I'm terrible, oh, I can't do that. You could just hear the frequency of when I was saying those I ams. We could feel our soul, yeah. But when we put in a row the things we say to ourselves, especially inside, the self-talk, that's why I said in that poem, choose to speak inside with kindness. I was talking about inside your mind, the way we speak to ourselves. And here's what I'd like for you to do. Let's try this out. I'd like for you to cross your arms in front of your chest. Like this, in case you can't see me, just the way like you were cold or you're like, cross your arms. And I want you to look down and see which arm is on top. One of us will have an arm on top. For me, my left is over my right. And I want you to ask yourself, did you consciously choose to do it that way? Probably not. Probably just did it. I bet you every time you cross your arms, if you were to do it over and over again, You put your right over your left. I want you to try whatever way is your way. Mine's left over right. I want you to try to cross your arms the opposite way. So I'm going to try to do left over right. And I don't know about for you, but it feels kind of awkward. It feels a little out of sync. It feels a little weird. And so the same thing for the way that we think inside, or the habits of how we talk, or the way we look at self-love, is that we have certain habits, we have certain practices of how we view ourselves, of how we view our self-love, of the courage we have for certain things we go for, of our belief in who we are and our worthiness. We have certain habits of thought, especially around certain areas, maybe around finance or relationships or your career, public speaking. For some of these, we're all going to have different pathways, different habits, different patterns of how we think. And so at first, whenever you're trying to learn something new, it sometimes can feel like you're kind of going back a step. For instance, if you think of Tiger Woods, this is an example often used in the leadership development world. He was at the top of his game, and he learned that he could do his golf swing, when he hits the ball really far. Obviously, I'm not a sports person. His drive, that's what it's called. His drive. When he does his drive, he actually could be just a little small percentage better. So this is somebody at the top of their game, and they say, I'm going to learn how to hit the ball far, do the drive all over again. And so when he first started trying to learn it again, he went from being world pro to being somebody that was almost like they were beginning. And he would hit it, and he tried this new swing, and it just wouldn't go far. And it felt like for a while that he had taken steps back. He went from being one of the best to barely being able to hit the ball. But he stuck with it. He trusted the process. And eventually he perfected this new way, this new swing, and he became even better than he was before. So same thing for us. A lot of times when we start to pay attention to our self-talk, when we start to pay attention to the love we have for ourselves, we start to fine-tune things, and we start to become more sensitive to what it feels like to be in alignment with our beliefs and our empowering mindsets. And we start to realize when we step out of that more and more, and it becomes more and more fine-tuned. Whereas before, we might only realize it when something huge and dramatic happens. The more we practice it, you start to realize the little increments that even just a little bit out of sync with your self-love, you start to notice it because you continue raising the bar. You continue raising your standard of what courageous self-love looks like. What I want you to do is one more thing. It's an experiential podcast. I know I can sit here and just lecture you for this half hour, or I could allow you to try things and experience it for yourself. I want you to, for the next 15 seconds, to only breathe out. No breathing in, just breathing out for 15 seconds. Here we go. Ready? Okay, this is hard. 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't know about for you, but for me, that grew uncomfortable after second 5. Because just breathing out is missing a whole cycle. It's missing a whole aspect of the whole oxygen and carbon monoxide sequence that we do. And that's why the last thing I want to talk about around self-love is that self-love replenishes who you are. Self-love is that aspect of breathing in, because we can give love to others. We can give love to our passions, to the causes we believe in, to the mission we have, to acts of service, to those around us, and it can fulfill us. It feels great. It feels wonderful. But to breathe in our lives, that replenishment comes from loving ourselves. And we do that through what we've already talked about, practicing and spending time on rituals and habits and in our language and the way we treat ourselves in loving who we fully are. And really the key in all of this is focus. What are we going to give our attention to? I often say that your attention gives direction. So are you giving your attention to all the areas of your life where you feel you are lacking, or to the parts of your characteristics, skill set, and experiences that make you feel inadequate? Are you focusing on all the times you've messed up or you failed or you've let yourself and others down? Is that where you're constantly giving your attention to? Because that'll give direction to your body in terms of your shoulders, how they get all tense, your breathing, the way you're going to go at life, the opportunities you're going to seek out. Instead, what if you gave your focus like the poem I read? What if, for just an hour at first, you fully and truly believed in yourself? If you just tried it out for an hour and found that you really enjoyed it, what if you tried it for 2 hours and then just a day? And then what if little by little became your way of life of fully loving and embracing who you are? And remember, are you doing things to prove or improve yourself? Because the degrees, the accolades, the likes, shares, and follower count, the viral video, the amount of friends you have, the public things, the things you can buy and wear, and the cars you can drive. If you're looking for self-love, if you're looking for fulfillment, and if you're looking for validation in doing those things, it's a never-ending race, because you can never have enough things to validate who you are. But instead, if you're starting from within, if you're starting by, I'm just doing things to improve who I am because I already know, just as I am, that I am worthy, that I am loved, that I am a magical being of infinite potential. The more and more we lean into that, which is what I consider courageous self-love, the more life in its everyday essence becomes beautiful, fulfilling, and enjoyable, no matter what the conditions around us are. Self-love is that ability to go through life no matter what happens and just have this wonderful atmosphere and wonderful internal space of joy and courage. And so, my friends, reflect upon what ways can you practice self-love this week. Let me know. Email me, tom@tomearl.com. All my social media is at Tom Earl Artist. Hope you've enjoyed this podcast, this session number 2 on our year of courage. If you'd like to take a little deeper dive, if some of these things that you're hearing, they resonate with you and you want to take a deeper dive, then what I suggest is head over to the Celebration Academy. It's the online school that I founded that really is a fun and empowering way to learn in an experiential way. And what I'd like to give to you is a month of free access to our membership, which means you get access to every single class we have, including our group coaching sessions with our members. So you can sign up for your free month at tomearl.com/courses. And if you'd like a 30-minute free coaching session, I'd love to sit down with you and see ways we can work together to allow you and to encourage and empower you to live as your highest self. To set that up, just send me an email, tom@tomearl.com. Say, hey, Tom, I'd like a 30-minute coaching session with you. I'd love to do that. My friends, this has been an absolute pleasure. It's been an absolute joy. And as always, I'm wishing you peace and blessings. Thank you.